When we read Shakespeare, we fall in love with him. But when we read about Shakespeare, we get astonished. Shakespeare's poetry and dramas are so unique, so musical, so suggestive, so varied, and so universal that it is hard to believe they are the works of a single person. More astonishing is Shakespeare himself. He was born in a village. His education was not of the standard of his time. He lived with simple, common, and he lived with simple, common, and natural people. He came to London at a very young age, worked in a theatre, worked as an actor. Then he joined the great philosophers and dramatists of the age. He collected old works, worked on them, and reproduced a work that looked completely new, and then, few years later, he led that group of great people. Dramas began to pour in from Shakespeare's pen. Dramas that were according to the taste of the age. Dramas that never lost their popularity. There is none equal to Shakespeare's mesmerizing poetry and subject matter. It appeared as if Shakespeare never cared about his works. He wrote them, they were performed on the stage, and he threw them to a corner before he said goodbye to the theatre. They were collected, identified, divided, and organized later by hundreds of philosophers. He was amazingly creative. He would pick up an old story or poetry, rewrite it quickly, and it was ready to be performed. It would touch the human feelings and emotions. Every new generation finds his works more impressive than the generation before them. And that is why Shakespeare is Shakespeare. How could he do that is the question yet to be answered. The Romantic school of writers thinks that this was his talent. He was gifted in the art of drama. His gifted genius was all his guide. The practical and non-imaginative writers suggest that Shakespeare's environment were his leaders. He would study the audience, know their taste, and produce accordingly. He would give the people what they liked. He would give the people what they liked. Perhaps the fact is between these two thoughts. No one can deny his genius, but there are some other things that are important. Shakespeare was trained like his other friends. First, as an actor, he observed the taste of the people. Then he studied the old dramas and then became an independent drama writer. He worked with other dramatists and learned the secrets of their writing. Two places are of great importance in the growth and development of Shakespeare's mind. One, the small village Stratford, which is the center of a romantic district of England. Second, the London, the center of world politics. In Stratford, Shakespeare studied the natural man living in the natural environment. In London, he lived with artificial man in an artificial environment. Life of Shakespeare. Shakespeare was born in Stratford on 23rd April 1564. We know very little about his education. We do know that he went to a school in Stratford for a few years, where he learned a little Latin and Greek. During these years, his teachers were the nature and people he lived with. Stratford is a beautiful village in Warwickshire. The beauty of the village and the hills and pools around really attracted the imaginative mind of the young Shakespeare. The effects of its beauty on his mind can be seen in his poetry. Similarly, nobility, gossip, simplicity, thrill, suspense, and emotions can be observed in his dramas. Thank you. Wait for the next video.